Obi-Wan Satoshi, checking in. When there's not too much going on in the markets, when it's not the right time to get in, use that time to strategize. Use that time to study. Use that time to learn. Use that time to read. Use that time to fine-tune your skills and craft. Don't waste your time sitting there looking at the charts all day when you know that there's better things you can be doing with your time. There's a time to look at the charts, and sometimes there's a time to step away. So that being said, being that there's not too much going on in Bitcoin right now, I'm gonna drop a little story on you guys in a segment I like to call Crypto Wisdom. Although this is called Crypto Wisdom, it basically applies to all financial markets and many things in life in general. The tale of two men. The tale of two men. Very simple story, guys. Two men met. One of them had experience and the other had money. When they departed, the one with the experience now has the money, and the one that had the money now has the experience. What does that mean, guys? To learn trading, to learn investing, you got to get in there. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get your feet wet. You can read all the books you want. You can listen to all the videos you want. You can pay for mentors. You can pay for courses. You can do all of that. You're not really going to learn, and you're not really going to improve until you get your hands dirty. Until you take some real losses, until you make some real gains, until you have skin in the game, until you have skin in the game. When I first started trading the crypto markets 2 years ago, I got in right before a crazy bubble mania madness. It was a Bitcoin bubble, but not only was it a Bitcoin bubble, the real bubble happened in ICOs and in altcoins. It was madness. I mean, literally, it was hysteria, madness, mania, whatever you can call it. It was all of that. Everyone was so exuberant. Everyone was so euphoric, so optimistic. Many people made massive gains on paper, but never realized those gains because they never took the profits. And I was no different than everybody else. I did well. However, I didn't do as well as I could have because I didn't take the gains that I was given. Instead, I kept hoping for that 100x like everybody else was making, or so it seemed. But nevertheless, I did okay. But there was a few times where I made some mistakes that hopefully I'll never make again. Buying the top of the market, and then when seeing that it's not going any higher, writing it down, hoping that it's going to rebound so I can get my money back, and then writing it down too long, not getting out, not cutting my losses. So basically at that time I didn't have the experience in the crypto markets, but I had a little bit of money. Now thank God I didn't lose all my money, and I even managed to make a little bit of money, but I didn't realize all the gains that I had. That being said, fast forward 2 years later, just 3 months ago. To make a long story short, I doubled my account in less than 2 hours on a coin called Zcoin. Some news came out. I had a very good idea what the news was going to do to it. So I market bought it, bought everything on the books that I could. And sure enough, within 2 hours, it did 130%. And by the grace of God, I actually sold pretty much the exact top. Bought the bottom, sold the top. After I did that, I was feeling a little bit bad because I looked at that big old massive candle and realized somebody bought the top. When I sold, somebody bought it. But then I realized it hit me. I said, you know what? He's paying for his education. That's his trading education fund that he just spent. And I hope he learns. I hope he learns from it. But what happened was basically this time around, I had the experience. That guy had the money. When we parted ways, I had the money. And hopefully now, he has the experience and he can learn and benefit from it. So that being said, guys, listen. Taking profits is an art. Trading is an art. Investing is an art. Life is art. Finances are an art. But taking profits, guys, is an art. There's no one answer. I can't tell you. You know, if you make this much, you make 100%, you double you take profits right away. You know, soon as you make the amount that you initially invested, you take that out and you let the rest ride if you want to. As soon as you make, 25%, if it happened in a quick period of time, an hour, take your profits right then and there. Scale into the positions, scale out of the positions. All of this is applicable advice. One of them is not always the right answer. You have to find out the situation you're in and adjust and pivot accordingly. If you want to try to get close to maximizing the potential gains and minimizing the potential losses. So I hope you guys learn from that. The tale of two men. Two men met. One of them had experience, the other had money. When they left, when they departed, the one with the money now has experience, and the one with the experience has the money. Let's move on to 2-minute TA, where I'll be breaking down Bitcoin's current state, and I'm gonna take a quick look at Cardano. So here's what we talked about yesterday. This particular trend line that we drew was a long-term trend line that was respected for years that we broke down from. We had a top at 20,000 roughly, and we had this descending triangle over here, right? All right. Then we broke down below this trend line that you see over here, this big trend line. As you can see, we broke down right here. Okay, we broke down right there. Then we had a parabolic run up to test that trend line again, and we got rejected at that trend line. Okay, and now you can look at the current situation right now and say that this is a falling wedge. And generally, a falling wedge is going to break to the upside. That's a possibility. However, that doesn't necessarily have to play out that way. And what I mentioned yesterday is that right now we're in about a 43% retracement from the yearly high of 14,000. If we start to retrace more than 43% and start to encroach on 50% and go lower than that, then that's something that Bitcoin hasn't historically done before. And so it's very likely that it's going to go a lot lower. That is possibly going to go, let's say, down to 4,000 even. Possibly. Okay? However, if we say that if we let the trend be our friend, as they say, and we go with the trend or the pattern so far has been that Bitcoin has never taken more than a 43% retracement unless it was following an all-time high, which this is not following an all-time high. So we can assume that possibly this is it. This was the retracement. And from here, it's going to go back up. Maybe it's going to go back up to 14,000 to start to make a ascending triangle to break out from. Or it could possibly go all the way up and test that trend line again. These are all possibilities. Now, if we take a look at the weekly chart, now we could see that parabolic massive rise we had right here. All of this. Naturally now, there's going to be a retracement. That's what we're in right now. So basically, to make a long story short, guys, now let me zoom into the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, what we could see, there was a downtrend that has now been broken on the 4 hour chart. It's possible that we're going to get a bounce from here. It's possible. And it's possible this thing we already got to the high and it's going to go back down to 7,700 or lower than that. If Bitcoin breaks above that, which is basically 8,500, and holds and closes above that, more than likely it's going to retest the 9,300 level that it broke down from, which is the bottom of this descending triangle, the new descending triangle. See here, this is the bottom, all right, which is roughly around 9,300. So if we break above 85, it's likely we're going to test that 93 again. Now, if this thing manages to continue to go sideways and consolidate at the point that it is right now, and it doesn't do something like this over here, okay, and it starts to go like this for a longer period of time, then at that point, I may just get in right there and take a risk. And then if it starts to falter, then I'll quickly get out. That's my plan. That's my current outlook for Bitcoin. Now let's take a quick look at Cardano. So if we look at it on the weekly chart, our MACD just crossed. And we can see that there's been a few weeks of a weekly uptrend. We definitely got an uptrend going on a weekly chart. Now let's zoom into the daily. And what you're going to see is that it's creating an ascending triangle. So what am I looking for over here? I would prefer that it comes down over here to this line. I would like to buy it here. At any point, I would prefer to buy this line versus to buy, instead of buying this area over here. However, if it comes up over here to this area, it starts to break above this area, then right around this level, if it starts to hold this level and consolidate around here, I think I would get in over there. But again, I would prefer to buy it down here. Simple, guys. If it pops off, it could potentially go and retest this area here, around this area, which would be, it would be a gain of about 72%. So that's what I'm looking for at the moment. I'm looking for to see what Cardano is going to do. Now, for me to get into this, two things have to happen. Bitcoin has to be relatively stable and consolidating, and not at a point where it's about to have a big drop, and not at a point where it's about to break out, because usually with these altcoins, generally speaking, if BTC breaks down, people flee the altcoins and they go into a stable coin. And if BTC starts to break out, they sell everything and they go into Bitcoin. So I need two things to line up. I need the chart to line up, and I need Bitcoin to be kind of stable, to be behaving a bit. If so, then that's something I would do, is get into Bitcoin and then get into Cardano. That's all I got for today in terms of TA. So I will see you guys next time. Obi-Wan Satoshi checking out. Peace.